What is going on today, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the exact criteria that I use when evaluating new product categories and the criteria that my top products have. Right, so I've launched over 20 different parent listings, parent SKUs on Amazon. Not all of them have been successful, but today I just want to talk to you guys about the successful ones. Like, what do all of these products have in common so that you guys can also see success when you're going to launch a new product? All right. Before I jump in there, I just want to mention that if you're enjoying the video, please subscribe, share it to a friend. I've been getting a lot of great feedback so far, so let's just keep this rolling. All right. Before we get into the criteria, we need to talk about two important things. First is the search term, right? So what do I mean by that? When we go to evaluate a niche market, a niche product market on Amazon, we have to get really specific so that we can do a proper analysis on that market. If we have too broad of a search term or search query there, what's going to happen is that we're not going to be able to get a good grasp or understanding of that market. And here I'm going to give you an example. So baby toys might be too broad of a search term, right? However, baby rattles is a specific enough search term that's going to pull up specific products directly related to that, right? And we can kind of classify that as a niche market. Likewise, kitchen accessories is too broad. And if we narrow that down a little bit further, bread box is a little bit more specific, but steel bread box is going to give us a hyper-specific search term that's going to define a market or a niche market category for us, that's going to allow us to do that market analysis and perform or evaluate the product criteria of what's going to make a market successful or not. All right, so that's search term. Next on the list is sales to. We need to use a tool or a sales data tool that helps us evaluate the search criteria or the product criteria, right? I use Jungle Scout. I'll drop a link in the description below so you guys can use the app as well. And in today's example, I'm going to be using Jungle Scout. There are a couple of other ones out there, and I'll probably be doing a review just comparing the pros and cons of all of those in a future video. But for today, we're going to be using Jungle Scout, and we're going to need a sales data tool to help us do this niche product research a little bit faster. All right, so we got search term and sales data tool out of the way. Now let's jump into the criteria. Number one here on the list is unique product. Okay, you have to have a unique product in the niche that you're going to enter. And what do I mean by that? You either need to innovate on design, innovate on the make or the engineering of the product, innovate on the marketing, the logo, packaging, listing, target market. We need to make the product unique in some way so that we can differentiate ourselves from the rest of the competition. All right? If we don't do this, what's going to happen is you're going to launch a product that's the same as everybody else, and you're going to quickly get into a price war, right? And if it's not happening to you already, it soon will happen, right? And the number one and easiest way to defend ourselves and have a market competitive advantage is right from the start to have a unique product that distinguishes ourselves from the rest of the market, all right? All of my most successful products have a unique product attribute in some form that makes my product stand out from the rest of the market. Next on the list is sales volume. So what do I mean by sales volume? When we're evaluating a niche product category, do the top 7 to 10 sellers have a total of 1,500 to 5,000 units being sold per month? If the answer is yes, then that is a good sales volume. There's enough volume, units being sold per month across the top 10 sellers that make this a good volume product, right? We need to be doing enough volume on Amazon so that we have enough turns in our inventory and we don't get stuck with it, right? So having enough sales volume is super important. Likewise, depth of market is really important to evaluating how deep that market goes, right? What I mean by that is, are the top 10 sellers, top 7 to 10 sellers, are they all doing at least 200 units per month? If they are, that means that there's good depth in the market, and if we are able to outcompete or outbeat one of those sellers, if we can place ourselves within that top 10, we will also be doing 200 units per month. So that would be an example of good depth of market. And if they're all doing 200 units per month, then your total sales volume for that niche category is going to be 2,000. So it'll have good volume and good depth of market. And I want to just take a second here and show you guys what this looks like when we use a Jungle Scout. So right here, I've already searched a steel bread box up in Amazon, and we're looking at this category right here, and you can see how all the products actually are slightly different, right? They all have some sort of probably unique attribute to them, which makes them stand out from the rest. We fire up the Jungle Scout extension here, and what I'm looking for is the sales, right in this category. So I'm looking at the top 10 listings here. Total sales of the top 10, do they have above that 1,500 mark? And I can see that they do, right? This first guy's already got 1,500 being sold here, right? So there might be a total of 3,000 sales being sold, maybe a little bit more than that across these top 10, right? So there's enough volume here. I know that steel bread box is showing enough volume in this category to make this interesting for me. Next would be the depth of market. So are all of these sellers doing at least 200 units per month? And on average here, they are, right? So that means that if I could come into this market with a differentiated steel bread box, there's potential that I can also rank here, okay? That I can also start getting the sales in the same way. All right, but that's not the only 3 criteria here on the list, right? We also got to take a look at competition, right? So what do I mean by competition is the easiest way to determine, or a quick gauge of the competition, is to look at the review count, right? How many reviews do the product listings have, right? If you're going up against sellers with thousands of reviews, it's going to be really hard to compete against that, right? Because we're going to also have to get hundreds, if not thousands, of reviews to compete against them. So my most successful products I'm going up against sellers with low review counts. And we're talking about, 50 to 100 reviews, on average across those top 10 sellers, right? Other great things to look at when we're going to evaluate the competition is the photos, right? Do the listings have optimized photos? Do they have optimized title, strong bullet points? Are they using enhanced brand content, right? These are all things that are helping us evaluate the product and the seller of that product, and whether they will be considered high, low competition, right? And we're really looking for weak listings with low review counts, right? But have these other criteria still intact. After competition is price. So price is super important because we don't want to be selling a product that's just too cheap and there's no margin in it for us, right? My most successful products are all selling for above the $30 range now. Anywhere from $30 to $60 range seems to be like the sweet spot for me right now. Typically what happens, on a back of an envelope kind of analysis here is 30% is going to be cost of goods sold, shipping, Amazon PPC. 30% is going to go to Amazon fees, and 30% will be your gross profit, right? That's kind of the back of the envelope kind of margin breakout right there. And so if we're selling a product at the $30 price point, that gives us about $10 worth of gross margin for ourselves, right? So that's why we want to kind of keep, keep the price point, evaluate markets, look for markets with a price point above at least the $20 mark, but anywhere from $30 to $50 mark. Last but not least here on the list is vertical brand extension. Okay, and what do I mean by this is, let's say that we've found a market, we've done our research, we've sourced a product, we're working with a factory that is providing us a high quality product, we've shipped it over to the USA, we've launched it on Amazon, and it's selling. Okay? Instead of breaking into another niche category, another niche market, what other products can we roll out within that exact same niche? Okay, we already understand this market. We're already working with a factory that can likely roll out a second, third, fourth product, right? So that's what I mean by here is vertical brand extension is are there other products that we can continue to roll out within this niche market? And this is really where I've seen the most exponential growth in my business, is once I've found that niche market, really just dominating it with multiple 5, 10 different kinds of products that I can continue to push out within that same niche criteria. So there you guys have it. I mean, this is really my top 6 criteria for when I go evaluating new markets. Like I said, this is the criteria that my top products have all in common. I would like to phrase here though that not every market is perfect, right? So when you are evaluating new product categories, you're not going to be able to check off all of these. There is no perfect market in my experience, right? So you're going to have to give a little bit here, give a little bit there, right? You're not going to find a market that has the great sales volume and the great depth, and there might be a little bit more competition, right? There's a give and take, and you just have to kind of feel it out somewhat. However, I hope that this provides you a good framework that you guys can work off of, right? So like I said, if you guys are enjoying the video, please subscribe, please share it to a friend, and I'm going to be coming out with more videos within the near future. So peace out.